Hello beautiful people, and welcome back again to the channel. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Winna Yinkore, and you, my darling, you're most definitely welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, you are the real MVP. Thank you for stopping by on another episode on the channel. So in today's video, as you already see from the title, I have been having loads and loads of questions since I first put up my UK spousal visa video, and I've been having tons and tons of questions. So in today's video, I would be addressing those questions, okay? So before we move on with the video, I would just really like to put a disclaimer out there. I am not an immigration specialist or an immigration consultant, neither am I a lawyer. The answers I will be giving to the questions in this video are solely based upon my research, my opinion, and my experience. Also, by the time you might be watching this video, some of the information given might be obsolete. So please do your due diligence by doing your research. The information given in this video will not guarantee you your visa. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get right into the questions proper. So in no particular order, I would be reading the questions and giving the answers. So permit me, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at where I have the questions written to read it out. Okay, so the first question says, the 18,600 minimum requirement for spousal visa, is it before or after tax? Okay, so if you don't know, there's a financial requirement, which means that you must be earning at least £18,600 per annum. So the person is asking if this amount is before or after tax. So the answer to that is that, according to the UK Gov website, is that the amount is before tax. So next question. Do you need a lawyer or an agent for the visa application? So the answer to that is no. Especially if your visa process is straightforward, you don't need an agent, neither do you need a lawyer. So I'm not really sure, like for cases where maybe if you don't have enough money, like the financial requirement, or if you have, children, you can look into maybe getting an immigration expert, maybe in those cases. But if you don't have any problem, no convictions, nothing, straightforward, then you do not need an agent or a lawyer. Okay, so the next question says, if I pay for priority service, how long do I have to wait to receive my visa? So according to the UK Gov, the timing is actually 25 working days. So when we say working days, meaning that Saturdays and Sundays are not included. Okay, so and 25 working days, if maybe all your information and documents and details given are accurate and complete. But it being 25 working days doesn't mean that it might be 25 working days on the dot. It could be, maybe lesser than that, maybe 20 working days, 22, or even more than that, up to 30 working days. Next question, it says, how long do I have to wait if I take the standard service? Okay, so the answer to that is about 60 working days, which is about 14 to 16 weeks, more or less. So if you do not hear from the immigration office within this time, you should reach out to them. Okay, so the next question here says, how much does the fast track spousal visa cost? Okay, so the answer, especially in Nigeria, so this person is asking in Nigeria. So last I checked, the cost for fast track is around $800 to $900. So in Nigeria, you're looking at about 350,000 naira for fast track. I remember that when I was doing my last year, it was $900. So with exchange rate and all that, you calculate the amount. So for fast track, it will cost you around $800, $900, maybe 1,000 now, who knows. So yeah. So the next question says, I and my partner are living in Nigeria. I am a British citizen and I have a British passport. Can I remain in Nigeria while applying for my wife's visa, wait for the visa to get issued, and then go to the UK together? So the answer to this question is yes. So the basis of your application, if you read on the UK government website, is that you have the intention to return to the UK after being issued your visa, right? So this is totally fine. You can be in Nigeria while processing the visa, and both of you can come to the UK together. Okay? So next question. For the NIRAC proof of English, did you do visa and nationality, which is English proficiency, or did you do visa and nationality high potential individual with English proficiency? So the NIRAC, so this person is asking about the NIRAC because it's one of the methods which you can prove your English, which is one of the requirements for the UK spousal visa. So when I did mine, I used the visa and nationality English language proficiency statement, as well as doing an academic qualification level statement. So those were the two documents I got from NIRAC. In my video, I'm just going to put it on the card, where I explain documents needed for the UK spousal visa. I'm going to tag it there and put it in my description box so that you can watch it. I have a picture of my NIRAC certificate in the video, so you can refer to that. Okay, so next question, it says here, was a criminal record certificate required with the application? That means with my application. So when I made my application, this was not required at all. So like I will always say, when you finish your application process, the documents you need to submit to the TLS contact would be written for you. There'll be a list given to you. So if you have that on your list to provide, then please provide it. A criminal record certificate can be as easy as maybe if you even had a speed driving ticket. Do you understand? So if you have that, please submit that. But for me, I wasn't asked to. Okay, so next question, this was one of my most asked questions actually. So it says, if one has a church wedding certificate, is it necessary to get court wedding certificate as well? Is local government marriage registry certificate valid? So this particular question, I'm going to answer it from a Nigerian perspective. So it's a Nigerian asking me. So the truth is, when most people want to come abroad, they tend to do the civil, what we call the civil wedding, right? Because they believe that some of their certificates are not considered valid when applying for a visa. So this is my explanation. I did not have a civil wedding, right? I had my wedding in the church, but my church sort of is registered with the government to issue the government kind of wedding certificate. So make sure that your church or this church, the certificate they're giving to you, is the government one. You don't actually need to do a civil wedding if the certificate you get from your church is government based. I actually, made inquiries for mine because I really wanted to be sure. I knew I was going to, do this visa, but my church really assured me that their certificate is valid. So you can go to your local government where you are. You don't have to go to Lagos or Abuja. For reference, I got married in Delta State, Ughelli, which is a very small town in Delta State. That was where I got my marriage certificate. I did not go to Abuja, neither did I go to Lagos to get that certificate. But the certificate is same as the one that you'll be issued if you go to the court in Abuja or what's this famous one in Lagos, Ikoyi registry. So it's the same thing. Just make sure that it's not all these cardboard paper printed from wherever printer certificate, that it's the Nigerian, you know, that the white paper one. If I have a picture of it, I'll insert it in this video. That is the valid one, not any random church certificate. Okay, so just make sure that it's the legal certificate you're having, and if you can get it from your local government, please get it. You don't have to go to Lagos or Abuja unless you reside there. Okay, next question here says, what happens if your visa exceeds the maximum waiting time that you were told to wait for? So what I would advise you to do is email the Home Office. Okay, email the Home Office, and this email is not free. So after you put in your application, whatsoever email you send to the Home Office is not free, so you will be charged about £2 for the email. So that was my case. So if you watched my video where I discussed I was issued an expired visa, I would leave the card here and the video in the description. I explained how, you know, I had to email the Home Office, and I paid for that email, you know, to get my my visa sorted. Okay, so if they said 14 to 16 weeks your visa will be out, and it's 16 weeks and it's not out, you don't even have any email saying whether you were rejected or you should go for your passport, then please email the Home Office. Don't wait 1 second. Don't be like me. So email the Home Office. Okay, so another question that was frequently asked, you know, on my channel was that when applying for my wife's visa, can I apply for her under a surname or not? Has her passport still has her maiden name and she hasn't changed it yet? So yes, you can apply for your wife, or let me just say, you don't have to change your name to apply for UK spouse visa. Okay, so when I was applying for my visa, I used my name, like my father's name, Ogbe, to apply under my husband. Okay, so you don't have to change your name. But if you want to go, you know, by the process of changing your name to your husband's name before you apply for the visa, it's going to take a while for sure. If you're in Nigeria, you can watch this video where I say how to change your name in Nigeria. I did that before I moved to the UK, although it's not complete yet. So what you do is that you go to the High Court, then from there you change your name on the newspaper. Then after changing your name on the newspaper, you have to change your name on your passport. You have to change your name on your NIN. You have to change your bank account. You have to change a lot of things. So if you know you're not ready for that, use your father's name to apply for the visa. But if you know you have a lot of time on your hands and you can do all the process and you're not in a hurry, then please do all the changes before you then apply for the visa. But if it's for the question of can his wife use her maiden name, you know, for applying for the visa, she definitely can do that. Okay, I hope that answers the question. So next question here says, I just got a mail requesting additional documents. What do I do? Would this visa take longer? So if you get a message saying that they need additional documents, it's most probable that they're already trying to decide about your visa. So what I would advise you to do is that please send those documents back to them before the stipulated deadline. Would your visa take longer or lesser? I really don't know what will happen. You know, there's no hard rule to this visa thing. It can take longer, it can take lesser, depending on the evidence you put out there. Okay, like for example, like I said in my visa application, I was told, I was sent an email for additional information because when I was putting proof of my relationship with my husband, like I said, I only used my wedding certificate, but I was told, oh, I need to send pictures, I need to send that before so date. So I did that, and in about how many days my visa came out. So that might not be your case, but please, if you are asked for additional documents, please do submit it, okay? Next question here says, do I need to write the Life in the UK test for my spouse visa? The answer is no. How long does the NIRAC certification last? Okay, so for the NIRAC certification, it does not have an expiry date. It is valid indefinitely. So if you don't know what the NIRAC is, like I said before, it is one of the certificates you can get to prove your knowledge of English as a visa requirement. All right. Next question. My TB test has expired. Do I still need it at the point of entry? So this is a tricky one. I won't say yes and I won't say no. So like I said in my video, I gave a scenario where my TB test actually expired before I wanted to travel back to the UK, and I renewed it, right? I renewed it, but nobody asked me at the point of entry. Neither did the GP here in the UK even know what it is. So it made me come to the conclusion that I think, don't quote me, like I always say, that the TB test is only for your visa application. And once you get the visa application, I don't think it's necessary to redo another one. Because like I said, the TB test lasts for 6 months, right? But because of the issue I had with my visa, which I explained in those videos, the TB test expired, I think, a few days before I was to travel, or a few weeks, you know, before my intended date of travel. So I had to go do another one, but I don't think it's necessary. Okay, but don't quote me, but you might just call the Home Office. But with my experience so far, even after moving fully into the UK with the one I renewed, nobody asked me about that TB test. So yeah, my TB test has expired. Do I need it at the point of entry? Nobody really asks you your TB test at the point of entry. Okay, next question. What are the likely questions at the point of entry? Honestly, it's not like anybody will ask you any crazy questions when you're at the border of the UK, right? Or at the immigration area. They don't ask you anything crazy. Like my personal experience, they were just asking me things like, oh, why are you in the UK? Who are you going to meet in the UK? Do you plan to settle here? Or are you going to meet your husband? So just feel free, just feel relaxed, no pressure. But yeah, they don't really ask. It's not like examination that they will ask you any crazy questions. Okay, another question I've gotten is will I be able to work in the UK when I get to the UK as a spouse? Yes, yes, and yes. You can work. So those who are granted leave in the spouse category, they have full right to work in the UK. So you have freedom to work in the UK if you go through the spouse visa route. Okay, can I scan my documents myself to upload for my entire online application? The answer to that is yes. So after putting in your application, you're given two options by the TLS. So it's either you self-upload your documents, which is at no extra cost for you, or you have them uploaded for you at the TLS contact. Obviously, it is for a fee. That fee, I can't really remember what the amount is, but yes, you can upload your documents by yourself in the comfort of your home. You know, if you choose to self-upload, you'll be sent a PDF of the requirements, how your documents should be, what size they should be, what format they should be, and all those good stuff. Okay, so don't worry if you opt for uploading your documents by yourself. Next question here says, do I need to include wedding photos and WhatsApp conversations in my document? Isn't my marriage certificate enough? Yes, yes, and yes. Please include them. Don't be like me. Like I said, I only submitted my wedding certificate and I was emailed to send more, you know, proof of relationship. So please do all you can. If you can put a cover letter, if you can put your chats, if you can put flights transactions, if you can put maybe the receipt of your engagement ring, if you can put yeah, just anything, but don't go and put your entire wedding album. So what these people want to see is, you know, how far you've come in your relationship. They want to see growth, they want to see change, they want to see that, okay, you could surely have, you know, a relationship, and they want to see that other people know that your relationship exists. So you can also add pictures where you and your spouse or your fiance, depending on what you're applying for, are in gatherings, events with family and all those good stuff. Okay, so next question here says, what is the maximum year of relationship and marriage to qualify for UK spouse visa? Okay, so if you look at the UK government website, you will see the criteria for the UK spousal visa. And apart from the ones that said, oh, you must be more than 18 years of age, you must have met each other, you must have intentions to live together, or live together permanently. It also said something, I will put it on my screen and I will try to underline it. It says you have to have been living together in a relationship for at least 2 years when you apply. Okay, so the thing with the UK spouse visa is that it's your right to apply for it. You want to be with the love of your life, but at the same time, these people know that all these sham marriages and sham weddings, they exist. So they want to know that this relationship is actually genuine. So hence I think they put this criteria that you must have been in a relationship, or you must have been living together in a relationship for at least 2 years when you apply. So with this statement, I want to assume that you should have been in a relationship for at least 2 years, but I know that that's not always the case for a lot of people. But what I would say is that as much as possible, just give proof. As much as you know that your relationship is genuine, just give a lot of proof, to support your application, and hopefully your application goes through. Okay. So here it says, I want to know if you submitted your Bachelor of Science qualification to the embassy. Is it necessary since you've got proof of English? Like I said, when you're putting up your application, you're going to answer a lot of questions, yes, no, fill in the blanks and all that. So at the end of your application, they are going to give you a list of the documents that you should provide. So for me, I was asked to provide my degree. Although I didn't go with the physical one, I had, a scanned copy of my medical degree, and I was required or requested of it, and I added it to my document. So if you say you want to know if I submitted my BSc qualifications to the embassy, yes, I did, because it was required, so I did. So if you're required to submit your educational degree, please do that. Okay, so next quick question says, can you apply for UK spouse visa when outside the UK? Yes, you can. You can apply from Nigeria and a list of other many countries. So you can check the UK government website for the countries outside UK that you can apply for the UK spouse visa from. Okay, although you have to meet the criteria, you have to marry to a British citizen or someone who has indefinite leave to remain and all those things. Okay, so another question I frequently get is when can I apply for a British passport? Okay, so when you first enter the spouse visa category, you will be granted a 2.5 year, or let's say 33 months. That's how it's written there, 33 months visa. Okay, then you would have to extend that application again. Okay, so that's making it like roughly 5 years or so. Then you can apply for your indefinite leave to remain. If you're married to a British citizen, you can immediately actually apply for your British passports and become a British citizen by naturalization. So to answer your question, where can I apply for a British passport? Roughly 5 years. Okay, 5 years, of which they also consider your time out of the country. So just make sure that most of your time, or most of those 5 years, you were in the UK, and not like maybe out of 5 years you are 3 years out of the UK. That probably might not happen, so just be watchful of that. Okay, and the last question that we're going to tackle, it says, what happens if my spouse visa application is refused? I know that this is one of the things that most of us fear, but some people have to go through this, okay? So what happens if your application is refused? First off is to have the knowledge that you can actually make an appeal. You have the right to appeal. This is because, the spouse visa is actually termed your human right. You should be with the love of your life. You should be with your husband. You should be with your family. You should be with your wife, okay? So it is part of your human rights claim. So when you make an appeal, the appeal will actually be heard at the first tier tribunal, which is the immigration and asylum chamber, right? If you're in the UK, say maybe on a visit visa, you and your spouse will be able to attend and give evidence before the jury. But if you're not in the UK, your spouse in the UK would be the one who would need to attend. But you outside the UK can write a statement and provide evidence to the tribunal to consider. So at this point, if it feels a little bit, wonky, you might now need to seek the help of maybe a lawyer, an immigration lawyer, seek legal advice and representation, okay? And yeah, hopefully you get through that. So my basic advice would be, just make an appeal and seek for help from a specialist immigration appeal lawyer, okay? And God help you, God be with you. So that is all the questions I had sent to me. So I hope that this video actually answers all your questions. This is especially for those who are doing the UK spousal visa from Nigeria to the UK. I hope this video is very valuable to you and helps you with your visa decision, okay? So if you have more questions, leave them down in the comments. I will do my best to research and answer, and I wish you all the best with your visa application. I pray that God will favor you, God will cause every obstacle to be demolished, okay? That would not make you to come and stay and be with your spouse here in the UK. I come against it in the name of Jesus. So just put your best foot forward, do your research, make sure you send all the documents that are required of you, and fingers crossed at the stipulated time frame you would have your visa and you would be with the love of your life. Okay, so until my next video, please do give this video a massive thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.